Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing a video featuring a newer product that came out on the market not too long ago. It is a bonding primer by Lily Moon Paint. It is one of my favorite products by far in the Lily Moon Paint line because it comes in handy so many times. When you're working with a slick surface or not real wood, this bonding primer is what you're gonna need. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you the piece we're gonna be working on. Before we get started, I wanna mention two quick things. First of all, I have a paid membership group. If you're interested in joining this group of like-minded creatives and all kinds of great things, I'll list all the benefits here for you. Then this is the place for you. I'll go ahead and put the link to our website down below so you can go learn more. The second thing I want to mention is Born in a Barn does offer not only one-on-ones, but classes. We have a full list of classes that we started offering earlier this year, and they are available for purchase. So I'll go ahead and put that information on here as well. All right, now let's go get started. Here is our subject for today's video. As you can see, this is a very shiny finish. This is a manufacturer painted finish, but it's extremely shiny. Take a look at that top. We're not gonna just be able to go in with paint. We're gonna have to clean it, scuff sand it, and then prime it. The primer that I'm using that I talked about earlier is the Lily Moon Bonding Primer. This stuff is fabulous. It won't stand a chance of scratching once we get that all prepped and our bonding primer on. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the prep. I wanna mention what I'm using. I'm gonna use the Lily Moon Furniture Prep, which is a no rinse formula. It's concentrated, so you just mix it up into your water bottle and you spray away. Now I am gonna use a Scotch-Brite pad today. Normally, I just use a rag or paper towel, but I really wanna get in here on this one because it is ultra shiny. The next step will be to scuff sand. I'll show you in just a minute what I'm gonna use for that. You go in with your Scotch-Brite pad. It is a little different. You definitely need to come back and wipe this off. You're not gonna be able just to go in with your Scotch-Brite pad and leave it. We wanna wipe all this cleaner off. All right, so our piece has been all cleaned with our furniture prep. The next step is to go in, and I'm gonna use my rad pad in the medium. These are great for scuff sanding. Now you might ask, why clean it first, go back and then scuff sand it, and make another mess for you to have to wipe back down or clean again? Because it's never good to start sanding with any abrasive. It heats up, and if you have, crud, maybe some things that are left behind where they haven't been cleaned off the piece yet, you might end up working them further into the piece. So I always like to do it in the order of clean, scuff, and then just wipe it back down to make sure you get any dust. Or if you have a compressor, you can use compressed air to blow off all the extra dust. You can see here it is scuff sanded. I'm actually using a good bit of pressure in order to get the best scuff sand possible because we're so shiny here. I'll show you what it looks like after I finish the entire piece. It only takes you about a minute, and then I'll wipe it down and it'll be ready for our bonding primer. Quite often, what is a scuff sand and what does it look like? So I thought I would feature it here. Before we wipe it down, that's what a scuff sand looks like, and what it is using a fine grit sanding pad. I like the pads because they're flexible and they'll fit into those areas like the insets of the doors very nicely. It's not a rough sandpaper. You're merely looking to just scuff up your piece for better adhesion. Give you a little glimpse of what it looks like. I've wiped it down, and now we're ready for the bonding primer. It's hard to see on camera, but it is a lot less shiny than it was before, but it still has some shine to it. So that's why we want to go in with that bonding primer to ensure the best adhesion possible. Also, I'm leaving the doors on and the hinges because my client wants them painted black like the piece to just kind of melt into the piece. The hinges typically aren't a real pretty hardware, and we didn't want to accent them on the piece. So I did clean those, scuff sand those, and those get bond primed as well. So now we're gonna go ahead and take our bonding primer. I'm gonna spray my bonding primer, but you can brush this. It can be brushed or sprayed. I just choose to spray it because it's quick for me and it leaves a beautiful finish. While that goes ahead and strains through, and I do suggest using a strainer for all of your products just because that way you'll make sure there's nothing in your paint or your primer or anything you're using. While that's doing its thing, I'm gonna go ahead and assemble my gun and get ready. A little glimpse of what's going on here. This is the interior cabinet. My client does not want that painted, so I went ahead and used my 3M painter's plastic and some tape. have a little hole right there in the center. So I went ahead and patched that with just a little bit of tape instead of reusing a whole entire sheet of plastic. The doors will get painted front and back the same black color, and we're good to go. Show you what the bonding primer looks like when it's sprayed. First of all, it is a clear primer. And now this might freak you out a little bit when you first spray it. It looks a little bit like it's textury. It's not going to be. I promise you, I'm going to come back to the same spot as soon as this is dry and show you. It won't be textured. It'll lay down and dry really smooth. Here it is all dry. As you can see, it looks a lot more dull. I actually do have still a little bit of a wet area right there, but it doesn't look funny at all. It just looks way more dull. I will go in with 2 coats total. So I'm gonna wait for this to all completely dry, and then I'll go in with another 2 coats on. Can you see the difference from before? I'll pop a picture up here of the before, how shiny it was, and then what it looks like now. Now we are ready. So let's talk about the primer for just a minute. This is a phenomenal primer for all different type of surfaces, whether you're working with a slick, shiny wood surface, laminate, formica, metal, wood veneer. This is going to be your go-to bonding primer. It is going to make sure that your paint has the best possible chance of hanging on. I've used this many times and I absolutely love it. I don't use anything else. It's a low VOC, and like I said, it's water-based, so it's easy cleanup. Great product. Thing I want to mention is the dry time. It takes 30 minutes to the touch for dry time and about 1 hour for recoat time. It's pretty warm here today and dry, so this has been 20 minutes, it's already dry. But I am gonna wait the hour and then I'll go in with my paint. Now ready for paint. It's been 2 hours, plenty of time for that bonding primer to have set on the piece. And we're gonna go in with our Lily Moon Opulent all-in-one paint. I do have a previous video showcasing this paint, so I'm not gonna go into all of the particulars. You can go check out that video, but it is a primer, paint, and top coat in one. We're gonna go ahead and spray this today, so let's get started. Again, I do recommend using a strainer. I buy these by the hundreds off of Amazon, and I will link them in the show notes for you. The Lily Moon Opulent is a pretty thin consistency. It's a little thicker than their mineral paint. However, if you need to thin this for your sprayer, you absolutely can. And I usually do thin it out just a little bit. Now, don't ask me for the exact formula. I've been doing this so long that I don't measure anymore. But here's what I can tell you. Most every paint sprayer comes with a viscosity cap. That's what you'll want to do. Follow the instructions, use the viscosity cup, and that will give you a really good ratio for paint to your water. I'm just going to be using water for mine. This is not actually crystal geyser water. This has been refilled many times. This is just the jug that I use to go ahead for my thinning. Now, some people like to use Floetrol and other products like that for thinning. I just like to use water. It works for me, no problem at all. Waiting for that to run through, I do want to share with you some of my favorite brushes. This paint and the primer can be brushed on, no problem. I've done them both. I just prefer to spray, and again, this is a client piece and they are expecting that sprayed finish. So that's what we're going to do today. But this is the Palm Pro, and then this is their 2.5 inch brush. I love both of these. So they're great brushes if that's what you do. Okay, I want to stop because I want to talk about something for a minute. I feel like I was having a hard time getting my product out. That can be a few things. It can be I didn't thin it enough, so it's having a hard time pushing out. I don't think so because I'm pretty good at thinning, but that could be it. The other thing is I may have a clog in one of my pressure tube or air hoses, so I'm going to go check that. My valve, which is this, that adjusts how much spray is coming out, is open pretty wide. So I'm going to take a quick break, go check those few things, and I'll be right back. I just wanted to stop and talk with you about it because if you do spray, that is something that you might want to check out if you're seeing that it's not working for you very well. I get asked so often about my sprayer's not working, it must be broken. Usually it's not broken. Usually it's just one of those 3 things is going on. I checked everything, and like I might have thought, there was a little teeny clog from the bonding primer in one of my pressure tubes. I just poked through my little cleaner and it came out no problem. on, it is wet. I want to show you, because I showcased this in the original Lily Moon video that I've done with their mineral and opulent paint, and that is, don't be afraid of what that looks like. I know it looks a little splotchy. I've had a lot of people DM me or ask me questions here and say, it looks really splotchy, what did I do wrong? Nothing, because as you can see where it dries down, it doesn't dry splotchy. That is just the way it looks when it is coming out of the sprayer and landing on your piece. Once it dries nice and smooth. So here we are, this is the second day. This is all done. I left it alone last night after I put 2 coats of the paint on. Came out this morning, did my scratch test, no problem at all, did not scratch whatsoever. We did 2 coats of the bonding primer and 2 coats of the opulent all-in-one paint, which is a primer, paint, and top coat in one. I do not plan on doing anything else to this piece. However, I want to give you a little tip. And I know it's a little scary to think about doing this, especially on black, but I've done it before, so I know it works. Take a brown paper bag. If you feel like your surface is not as smooth as you would like, and sometimes spraying can do that. Once that spray leaves the sprayer, atomizes, hits the air, and then lands on your piece, sometimes it can feel a little grainy or gritty, not as smooth. Well, I kind of was feeling that, and I needed it to be a little smoother. Take a simple brown paper bag and a microfiber cloth. That's all you need. I know it's a little scary to think about doing it, but it works. Let me show you just a little test section so that you can see for yourself it's not going to harm your piece. So all you're going to do is take your brown paper bag. I'll just do it right here on the edge. It's already smooth, but I want to show you it won't harm your piece. You take your brown paper bag and you just simply rub over it. Now you can see that there's a little bit of the brown paper bag kind of left behind on my piece, except for when I do that, it's gone, and now it is super buttery smooth. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I so appreciate it. I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for your support. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you go hit that subscription button as well as the post notification bell. It helps keep my channel supported and keep me going. If you have any positive comments or questions, make sure you leave them down below, as I love engaging with you guys and I'll always get back to you. Thanks, and I'll catch you on the next video.